Hi fellas, Ben back again on another one. Another mod, a serious mod. This is going to help a lot of you fellas. Serious mods from an engineering standpoint, from a design standpoint, from lastly aesthetics. Aesthetics is the last of my concern, do not get me wrong. I have a beautiful 411, the Ben bike. The Ben bike is fantastic, not because I was after aesthetics. It's fantastic because you guys also know that the fella rides well, performs well. Yeah, so the last of my concern is to make the bike look beautiful, but then again that is also a concern. So today would be a mod from purely aesthetical standpoint and to some extent design. Design is objective, the aesthetics part is highly subjective. So if this helps, it helps, that's all there is to it. The first mod with the ergonomics of the handlebar, I think everybody should spend some time on it and fine tune it to their liking. That is a must that you guys ought to do. You can't really swap play with the position of the foot pegs or the seat. All that you can do is you can set up your handlebars and your controls, and if you do that, then the bike becomes a lot more user friendly. It becomes your motorcycle. It listens to your inputs. So that being said, today's mod is going to be highly helpful. Stay with me, let's go together and let's see if it helps. So yeah, here goes. Morning fellas, Ben back again. Well, mod number 2. Removed this panel. This is a seriously pathetic design element on the motorcycle. What this does is this extends the length of the motorcycle. It makes the bike look super stretched and long, if you guys can see that. There's a front upper fender, then there's this huge tank, there's a small element here, and then another at the tail end. What this does is this makes the bike look too stretched, too long, for no reason. You don't want a motorcycle to look that long. You want a motorcycle to look a lot more sporty and aggressive and to the point. And so, yeah, the factory could have painted it black, and that way the entire attention would have gone to the front of the motorcycle, and the rear of the motorcycle would have been good enough with the wide tire and a super long swing arm. But that being said, the factory didn't do that. The factory put a tail trim over here, which is, again, design is subjective, but mark my words, my motorcycle is going to look a lot more sexy than all of yours if you're going to hold on to that. An overstatement. Yeah, this could piss so many of you off, but please don't take it in any negative connotation. This is just simply me being a little quirky. Yeah, so got rid of that. One more reason why I do not wish to paint it black and put it there is because of this line. I don't know if you guys can see it. The lines that you see here are curvy for no reason. Again, there's an inward curve here, there's an upward curve there. So again, an unnecessary design element like that. So it's more like, so the front is all nice and sharp and bulky and aggressive. The rear suddenly becomes too feminine and graceful and pretty looking. And this lip, the spoiler style lip, this is what spoils everything. I mean, if this was a straight line, like look at my motorcycle now, look at my motorcycle without that. I'll attach a picture right now for you guys to see how sexy this looks without this nonsense. So the entire attention goes to the front, and the rear is absolutely attention free. So getting rid of this is no big deal. It's just 4 bolts, 2 here and 2 there, and that does this. It comes off pretty easy, no problems. Putting this back on is also not that much of a deal. All you need to do is manage these fasteners over here. You'll have to add some spacer to take the width of this material. You'll have to get a spacer or a washer or something of that sort to manage the space, and then these 2 bolts will shove into the lower fender. So that takes care of that. But there is a problem. Now the problem is all this exposed wiring from over here and all this bit that you guys get to see, all that. So I'll have to manage that. I'll have to kind of clean that up. Once that is clean, the bike looks spot on, absolutely no problems. The frame looks pretty neat. There's no need for me to conceal or hide the frame. If you guys can see this, that's what I'm talking about. So yeah, that's that. Super neat job sideways on the back. Now, managing that, what I'm up to is to conceal all this. I'm going to try and make a template panel that's going to go in and just take care of the exposed wiring a bit. The wiring on the motorcycle is pretty neat, good enough, not great. I'll tell you why. The couplers used on this motorcycle are not as good as the couplers used on that motorcycle. Interesting, huh? The wiring, the concealing part of it, running the sleeves and all that is nice, but the couplers, the plastic couplers on that motorcycle, on Ben, far superior to the couplers used on this motorcycle. The plastic is too weak. I just tried pulling out a male, female, and the female end cracked so quickly. I mean, it's a brand new motorcycle. It's not supposed to happen. Now, so what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to make a plastic panel that's going to just conceal this part. I don't know if you guys can see it. Just that much. That exposed area going to be concealed with a plastic panel. Let me just get that done. There are two bolts here to hold the new plastic panel in place, and then there's enough room to shove the other end so that it gets anchored to either the frame or there's these grooves. There's these grooves all over. So I'll use these grooves as anchorage and these fasteners to finally hold things in place. Hopefully that should do it. Let me get something done, like a proper template, and share that with you guys. Well, that is the template. Now, if you watch closely, I will share the dimensions of this on the channel for you guys to use as reference. But then if you watch closely, how this works is pretty easy. Took some time to fabricate this, but then pretty easy to do. Anybody can do it. The right material will matter. What you're going to cut this out of is going to definitely matter to be able to take on motorcycle related needs. So motorcycle plastic is definitely not the regular plastic. It has to be very high quality plastic to be able to take on the elements. But that being said, I have enough experience with plastic, so I will definitely get something which works well. But for now, this is the template, and how this works is this is going to slide in like that. You watch, the side panel goes in, gets anchored to the side like that. There you go. So that's exactly where I want it to go in. Then the rear part of it is being fastened by these two bolts. So that stays put right over there. I have cut the contours of the I've used the contours of the motorcycle's rear fender, and then the top aligns like that. I mean, I need a little more material on this side for the bolt, and the U cut is to accommodate the latching mechanism for the rear seat, the clamp for the rear seat. So pretty straightforward. If you look at it, this is how it's going to sit. Going to be flat up over there, and then so much of the side is going to go in, and it's going to be bolted here and bolted here. So there's absolutely no a question of this budging and moving and causing trouble over time. So that's the final template. All you need to do is an on fold. or you can flip it and trace the other half. So I will attach a picture of this with all the measurements so that you guys can kind of replicate that. You will definitely be able to get something which is spot on. Well, you have so many points of measurement, so no problems. And I transferred that template onto a document file. A document file is a pretty safe bet. The thing is, this is not going to last forever like the high density plastic, but this is definitely going to be there on the motorcycle for 2 or 3 years maybe, without any complaints, without any problems. And that should do it. That should help greatly. So yeah, so this is just the template. Now then, what we need is, we need 2 holes for this and 2 holes for these 2. That I'll do once I have the template sitting on the plastic. One more thing, you need to skive away a little bit of this material. This plastic bit was sticking out a little too much, and these bolts are pretty close to this center panel, this fella. So I've just skived away a little bit of material from that, just to get a taper so that the plastic can climb up like that without any problems. And hopefully that should help. You guys can see, that's what I've done. I've gotten a taper. So it's supposed to be straight. I've skived, I've shaved away a little bit of the material. Well, that is the template that's ready to go on the bike. See guys, one thing is, if you know what to do, how to go about playing with different materials. I cut it out of a document file, and I cut the shape out. Yeah, marked the holes, aligned it, and marked the holes, and then drilled the holes with a Dremel tool. Then scoring, if you know what scoring means. Scored these ends carefully, worked it for a long time without really stressing it too hard. And that's how you know if this is good plastic or not. If this is good plastic, this thing will not break, this will not crack, it will only bend. And you need to be very, there's a lot of years of experience in knowing how much is how good, and then you slowly mold this into shape. And that thing now is going, oh look at that, just look at that, look at the finish. That thing is going here on top and covering the whole of the exposed wiring bit. Looks factory, doesn't it? Let me just finish everything, put back the bolts, and then get back to you guys. So that does it. Hope you guys can see. That would be the top, and this would be the back mounted, and that is the side, perfectly concealed, looks almost factory. I mean, you will barely notice it. That's how neat this job is. What can improve? So what you guys can do is, you guys can maybe trim this part, the part that extends outwards. You can trim it smaller so that this has a much more smoother flowing edge. Mine is almost at the edge, all 3 sides at the edge. So you can maybe go in a little bit on this panel. And that's the only thing that I would suggest for you to kind of improve on the design that I've made. The rest of the template holds good, no problems at all. You need to be very careful when you mark these holes. And these holes for these bolts are, see to it that they're 8 millimeters diameter, 8 millimeter diameter. That way these bolts will slide in. They have these spacers that have an 8 millimeter outer diameter, so you need to be able to slide that in. This I believe is about 6 millimeter diameter, so even that has to slide in, and for that you need to have sufficient clearance so that these bolts slide in very well without causing any issue. And then that should do it. That's it, done and dusted. Let me put the seat back on and show to you how this works. So there you go. Job done. That's the side of the motorcycle. And that's this side of the motorcycle. I'll attach pictures of this so that it helps you fellas. So that's how the bike looks now. Look at that tail end. So much better without that white piece, white trim sticking out. So much more aggressive, so much more masculine. Hope this helps. It is, and I also have these, what can I call them? These are again plastic expansion threaded trims, bolts, plastic bolts, which go into these holes, and once you start threading them in, the socket kind of spreads out and holds that position. So you can of course get that. I mean, there were these holes for the plastic trim which now are jobless, so you kind of shove something in, and that's that. What else? That's about it. One more thing. This that you see here, this is not how the factory wiring is. The factory wiring was exposed, so I put in a sleeve. This is a wiring sleeve. You get it almost in any and every electrical store. So I put in a wiring sleeve over here just to make it waterproof, and that sums up the mod, the tail trim mod. Job well done. So if this helped, it helped. Give it a big thumbs up.